welcome back everyone, welcome back to the second half of the broadcast. We just wrapped up with the upper bracket finals with Master versus Kamikaze in the upper bracket finals of our monthly Brazilian only tournament, and now we're going to be jumping down to the lower bracket. Eric, if you recall, he got knocked down earlier by Master in a best of 3 in a more or less one-sided scoring. At least we saw some attempted aggression all-ins by Erik, and they did fall in their face, but now we're going to be catching up with Erik here in the lower bracket. He's up against INexorable. Now INexorable, I would say, is the best Terran player in all of Brazil. He did get knocked down earlier in the bracket by Kamikaze, but fun fact, INexorable, he was off racing. He was playing Protoss against Kamikaze, not Terran, which is why I was shocked to see Kamikaze win that series, by the way. But again, INexorable was playing his off race instead, and not entirely sure as to why, but he did. And that did allow Kamikaze to advance on in his stead. Meanwhile, here we are in the lower bracket, so we're ready to jump into our initial best of 3. Let's go. We're jumping on in here, going to be loading into 10,000 feet. Again, INexorable and Erik, they often do go back and forth as well. Like when we think of the best players in all of Brazil, we think of INexorable, we think of Erik, and we think of Master, right? Those are the top 3. Those are the top 3. Outside of Diego, but Diego, he doesn't live in Brazil. You know, he's over in the Europa, if you recall. Over in Europe. But here we go. We're going to be jumping on into our best of 3 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet. We have the red Zerg player, the Brazilian Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings. He's one of our own, Fabi. It is Erik. Erik Braga. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the blue Terran for Insane Master Killers. It is INexorable. Let's go. Let us go. We're jumping into our series, jumping into our best of 3, and we open up with a low ground wall off here. Okay, so looking like 2 Rax Reaper out of INexorable, already an aggressive and assertive start. Show us what you got. Now, what I will say about Erik here is that Erik, notoriously, his ZvT is his weakest matchup. Straight up, it's his weakest matchup. There's a little bit less variety and less builds that he has available to his disposal here against Terran players. Typically, Erik's strengths lie in his creativity and lie in aggression, all-ins, quirky styles, and quirky builds, but he's a little bit more limited here in ZvT, and that does often hurt him here, but we'll see. We'll see how he does approach this, whether he goes into 2-base layer tech and 2-base mutaplay, for example. Meanwhile, the first Rax is on the way, and we are opening up with a second Gas Geyser. This is not 2 Rax Reaper. This looks like either a Rax Factory or Rax Expand. Because the second Gas Geyser, it is Rax Factory. So Rax in the factory. Erik, he will get across the map. He will try to disrupt the initial opener here. Yeah, chipping away at the SCV. Second SCV comes down. This will delay the factory. And can we block? Oh, can we block? He's got the money for it. Ooh, spawning point to gas. Here it is, hatchery inside of the main base. I believe barely out of vision. No, it is seen. It is spotted. INexorable, he does not react, doesn't pull the boys, but it is going to be Rax in the factory. So again, Erik, he is fully aware of the build of choice, and Erik is causing a little bit of chaos already. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, INexorable, he does react. He does pull a couple of SCVs. Once again, this is what Erik wants. He wants INexorable to pull the boys. That's going to be 5 workers that are not mining. Back at him, Erik is joining, and he's going for a roach all in. Ooh, hidden roach horn behind the mineral line. Gases were taken, and no link speed. Yeah, no link speed, earlier roaches. Bearing in mind that specifically on this map, it is much more difficult to scout, as it is a double Reaper cliff into the main, and the rotation from the main base all the way to the natural is longer. So the Reaper does not get in. Again, the hatchery is distracting. I believe this should be cancelled, just because of how much DPS there is here. But again, that is 8 SCVs off the mineral line. Ay, ay, ay. That's a lot of workers that are not mining. Roach production has begun. There's a cancellation just in time. So Erik, he cancels. I'm going for another hatchery. Roaches, they poke in. Poke in, they pull away. As usual, does find a roach. It does catch a roach. Meanwhile, again, we're still rebuilding that hatchery inside of the main. Erik is crazy, man. He's crazy. And once again, with the 9 mining, Hellion Reaper diving into the bases. The roaches, I mean, we did not commit to an all-in. We're droning behind this. The Hellions, they do get a couple of roaches. Sorry, a couple of drone kills. That's going to be 2. 3. Ah, he wants them. Yeah, the boys are pulled away. They get 1 more volley off. Ooh, just barely 4 drone kills. So 4 drones go down. Not bad. But behind this, remember, Erik's been droning. Erik's been droning, has been saturating. Again, he went for the roaches to push across the map, but not to commit, to force another reaction. Ooh, this time the hatchery finishes, but we will make use of the larva. Yeah, we are making use of the larva here. Even the Broodling's getting a little bit of DBS on the initial Cyclone. Link speed will be done in time for the Lynx. And do we go for the Cyclone or do we go for the Mineral Line? Yeah, going for the Cyclone, should not kill. Should not kill. Cyclone survives, we can always repair. At the same time, Biles here at the front door. Oh, getting a tank? Do we Bile? Oh no, the Biles! Ooh, they don't quite connect. A couple of seconds too late. Like 1-2 seconds too late there. Scan takes down the Ravager. Nice pick off out of INexorable. Very nice pick off. And Erik behind this is taking. We have +1 and +1 melee on the way, not range. This tells us that Erik wants to switch into a more Ling Bane heavy composition. Infestation bits into Infestors, maybe? We could be skipping Banelings, going Ling, Ravager, Infestor. Would make sense. So I'm expecting Infestors here out of Erik, but we'll see if he does something else more quirky. As INexorable, he technically went for a 3cc 2-on-1. Late starport. Late follow-up. Erik is going to move out. Sorry, INexorable is going to move out. Erik is aware. Erik he does scout. We have 14 links on the way. There's that safety infestor, but it's going to be late. It's going to be a tough hold. It's going to be tough. It's going to be the defense here. Cyclone does go down. Oof. Catching at the Cyclone. Marines there step in. They catch out a Ravager. Does catch the Ravager. Likewise, getting into the final tanks, at least trying to. Catching out more Marines. Okay, did does pull away at the end. Infestor's now out. And Erik is not droning. Yeah, still not droning up. He wants those tanks. He's not going to get them. Behind this infestation bit, safety infestors into Hive Tech. Jesus. I'm curious here. So the one thing that makes sense with Hive is going to be Ultras, but even then we don't really have the economy to sustain that. Big scan. Big scan in the main reveals the Hive. Again, you can see here barely any saturation at the third. So I don't see a world where we can really even afford Ultras. But it's the only thing that makes sense. Oh, let's go. Microbial Shroud. Microbial Shroud is on the way. I'm ready for the Ultra Tech. Erik is now finally droning, but again, the droning has been very delayed. So late drones, late saturation. Medevacs are now finally out for INexorable. He can start to be active. there's that Ultra happening, as you mentioned. It's the only thing that did make sense here. So we're going into Ultras. Spire as well. Very tech heavy here for Erik. Very tech heavy. I bring that up just because of the low economy. Like, Erik can't really afford all of this, not yet. We need to drone, Bappy. We're still under 3-way saturation. David scan top right. He's over dropping top left. Setting up sensor towers. INexorable, he's going for his main push. Jesus, we have 5 tanks. Dropping to the main. Fungal does land. Nice Fungal. The Wilds though. Oh my god, they connect as well. Okay. Wilds, they connect. They catch the tank and the medevac. Ooh, medevac does fall to the Spore. So we're getting messy. We're getting messy here. Oof. 5 pulls away. We have a defense in the main base. At the same time, the main army pushes in. Once again, Fungals are connecting. The Fungals. They're slowing down the army. Damage over time. Shows the vials. Gets one of the tanks. He gets 1. He gets 2. And the Ultra was out just in time. It's a 2-2 Ultra. We're lacking upgrades, but hey, we hold on. Just in time. The hero Ultras. They pop out just in time for the fight. They clean up the tanks. INexorable was very committed there. Very committed. Now claiming his 3rd, but again, his tank count was reset. That was 5 tanks. That was 5 tanks being thrown away. Now it's purely Marine and a handful of Marauders. Erik's moving in. Kindness plating just now kicks in. Oh. There's a cancel. There's that cancellation. Erik does deny the CC. Denies the base. Nice catch. Yeah, catching on the Marines once again. Now we've rebuilt our tank count somewhat. We have 2 tanks, 2 Liberators. INexorable is holding the line. He's holding them back at home. So Erik will cash out the drop. Committing to liberation zones. Go by that Microbial Shroud, baby. Let's go. It does catch the Marauders. Marauders go down. Another microbial shot here over the Ultras. Not bad. As he still wants to dive in though. Oof, he cannot. Yeah, he cannot. Erik has to pull away, and he defends his 4th base. Defends the 4th. And Erik still has a low drone count, by the way. Like, it's... Now taking his gases. Ideally, we need another expansion. There we go. Hatcheries on the way. And Jorob's just turtling up. He's just turtling up here. Just a wall of Liberators, tanks, turrets as well. He's securing himself. At the same time, Erik does have his Viper at least, so he can blind and cloud the tanks. There is a way in. There's a way into the bases. So far, Erik just keeping up. Keeping up with the aggression. Greater Spire? Sure, why not? Yeah, but getting all those us back be true. Prayer Spire's on the way. INexorable again, he's stabilizing with his 4 bases. Erik is maxed out, that is true, but again, it's still a very wonky army here for Erik. And specifically on 10,000 feet, you can turtle up very easily, very nicely on 4 bases. The 5th base is more exposed and more open, that is true, but the 4 bases here for INexorable is just very secure. Very strong setup. He's got the high ground, he's got the choke points. Scan reveals a Greater Spire. June drop into the main. Oh. Going for the Doom drop. Army's out of position. There's not much to really gain in the main base outside the production. We'll see if we can get in. Viper goes down. No blinding cloud. Does fungal though. He lands one fungal, micro shot as well. Ultras are trying to move in. Every ultra should fall here to the snipes. There are enough ultras though. Army's ever simmed. Kite Swell cleans up the final ultra list, but at the same time, what matters is the drop in the main. Bam! Drop into the main base. We're sniping deeper, sniping some of the production, getting into the academy here. More importantly, can he get the academy? Can he get it? He won't deny cloak, but the academy does go down. So that's a decent pick off here. Sniping the academy, a couple of marines, sorry, a couple of links get away. But this was a very expensive trade here for Erik. He threw away so many ultralisks. That was 10 ultras going down. Jesus. Heavy economic losses. Tank here and there. Behind us remaxing. We're remaxing with again, we can't really afford 10 ultras anymore, so got a handful of ultralisks. Erik's drone count is decent. It's not amazing, but it's better than what it once was. True. It's a little bit better. And NXT claims his 5th. We spoke about it earlier, but the 5th base is much more difficult to maintain on this map. But he does claim his 5th. Jesus. Jesus. These are the first Bailings that are morphing in this game, by the way. The first Bailings of the game. Fake Dream drop into the main. Doesn't force an overreaction. Ultras they poke in. Snipes they punish. Oof. Sniping one, sniping 2 ultras. Bailings, they run into a wall of Marauders. Oh my god. And Marauders they tank well. Better trade here for INexorable. Yeah, better trade for the Terran. Bailings, they still make their way into the wards of Planetary, but they will not bring the Planetary down. Again, expensive trades here for Erik. Expensive. Doesn't land the fungals. Oh, does towards the end. Oh my god, he does. He gets them. Massive pickoffs. Yeah, massive connections here as he does take down almost every single ghost. One ghost survives. Single ghost. That was worth it. Oh god. Oh no. Erik, he missed the fungal. He missed the fungal here. As 3 infestors falling. So an expensive trade for Erik, but yeah, expensive trade for Erik, but INexorable, he doesn't really have much of a bank. But he does have the 5th. Does have the 5th base. Both players have to rebuild. INexorable switching to mech. That's the ideal here in the late game is mech ghost. Let's go. Scan reveals lack of saturation. Erik jumping into the main. Oof. We'll lose one full drop lord. Losing one, losing two. Yeah, barely unloads. Barely unloads. Not worth it. It's just because there was nothing lined up. Ideally, this would have been a distraction, but no. Every link gets cleaned off. There's 2 links borrowed in the main. Erik pushing in, but there are ghosts in position. Yeah. Oof. Losing 1, 2 ultras once again. Heavy losses here for Erik. At this point, at this stage of the game, due to the amount of siege tanks and liberators and ghosts, broodlords. You do need broodlord infestor. Going into ultra here, it's just too inefficient. It's too inefficient. We need broodlords. Erik knows this. That's why he's getting 3-2 upgrades. Like, he's getting ready for the broodlord switch. But it is going to be late. Madison to the main, nuke at the same time. Not many drones to kill here, thankfully, for Erik. Things they roll in, better pickoff, gets the tank. Nuke will connect. It's 5? Yeah, 5 drones. 5 drones go down. Madison's finish. Okay. No, never mind. And Madison finishes. Not quite able to make use of it. This thing run by is not bad. Hey, got a tank earlier. Now it gets into the mineral line. Erik, he distracts on the left hand side. So nice run by. It's not bad. There is straight up an opening here now. There's an opening. There's no tanks or liberators in position. So if Erik wanted to, his main army could actually break through this. Specifically targeting the turrets. If these turrets aren't rebuilt, then we can go for a Doom Drop again. So that is a concern. Can go for the Doom Drop. Yeah, there's still an opening here on the right hand side. Snipe they pop off. Tanks and libs are here in position at the 5th base. And scan reveals the broodlords. Oh, INexorable. He wants those broods. He wants them. Moves in. Nidus into the main. Ling round by here into the center, catching reinforcements. Meanwhile, Nidus into the main base. Once again, INexorable being pulled apart. Oof. Nice focus here on the Ghost, and the INexorable just pulling apart here. The Ghosts go down, Ultras into the main. Lings are distracting. And we're getting on top of the production. And finally, damage is done. Just weakening the defenses. Do we borrow? No. Hey, let's go, Ibarus. Sun was under the ground. Oof. As Erik does overextend. How many broodlords do we have left? 1. Okay, only 1 broodlord, so there's not really many broodlords remaining. So what did he notice? Did he notice the ultras? Yeah, he did. The scan once again, nuke on the right hand side. Ooh, he will actually catch something. Never mind. Might kill the expansion. So let's move in, then knock down more bases. Get surrounded. And Erik, more importantly, denying mining. Yeah, he's killing all the SCVs. Trying to catch out the ghosts. Shouldn't be able to. There's no detection. Banelings, they roll in, they zone. Banelings zone away. And INexorable, he's broke. At this point, he has no money. He has no money. He's broke. We're out of. We've got one patch here at the 4th base. We got 2 patches here at the 3rd. GG gets called. He's out of money, and Erik, he will claim game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played, Erik. He will barely claim game 1 here. He will take a lead in the series, and again, he just starved INexorable out. So we didn't see the most efficient fights out of Erik, but Erik, he was up in bases, so we could afford to be inefficient, and eventually INexorable just couldn't mine. He just ran out of steam, ran out of money, eventually could not make anything else. GG. GG, well played. Whew, hi. That's a bit of a longer back and forth there, and again, Erik was at least able to keep the pressure up. Bearing in mind, in this game, at no point did INexorable ever push across the map. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there was maybe some drop play, not even, right? Like INexorable, he was just, he had the first tank push, yes, he had the first tank push, the first main push across the map, which didn't get across the map, if you recall. It was the interception in the center of the map, and that was it. Outside of that, INexorable, he was just stuck at home the entire game, and he just could not break out. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be loading the game 2, going to be loading into Winter Madness. Oh boy. Getting into game 2, Erik, he does take a lead in the series. He does take a lead, and now we're jumping into that second game. Whew. Let's go. Let us go. As we are jumping into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg player himself, the Brazilian Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Terran player, the blue Terran representing Insane Master Killers. It is INexorable. Let's go. Let us go. Question mark someone in the chat. Let's now jump in. As we're loading into game 2 here, welcome to Winter Madness. Winter Madness is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Larger map, longer rush distance by grounds. Here we do have a higher tendency of getting into a longer game. I'll be honest, this so I'm a little bit concerned about that, given we had a very intense and long game 1, but that was also on 10,000 feet where you have a really secure and solid 4-base setup. Here you do spread yourself a little bit more thin, and you can maybe argue that Erik would have an easier time here, as we do open up gasless. Oh, hello. No gas. So hatch pool opener here out of Erik, going for delayed if not non-existent gases. This typically means either 2-base lair or 2-base roach. The reason for this is because gases will eventually be taken, but because they're so late, you just skip link speed. You just skip link speed entirely. You go into a very heavy like roach base early game into roach all in, or maybe even 2-base muta. So eyes are on Erik. Oh, as once again, hatchery into the main. We saw this in game 1, we're seeing this here in game 2, and oh, this time though it's out of vision. Oh, hello. The drone does slip in, and it is barely out of vision here. Now, I'm sure INexorable noticed the drone, right? He did notice, I'm sure, as the drone did get into the main base and into the dead space here, but INexorable does not check. He doesn't put, there we go, okay, he checks. Does check, does confirm, Reaper still commits across the map, and we'll see if INexorable can find some damage. We shall see. As Reaper pokes in, picks off a Zergling. Back at home, the boys have arrived, but again, this is a late reaction here by INexorable, so there's plenty of HP on this hatchery. Roach Warren is halfway done. Now, if Erik could have, I believe the goal would have been to have proxied roaches inside the main, but we should see a cancellation. Like, I don't see the lava being used. Hatchery does finish. We're gonna have, what, 2 lava? 1? 1. Yeah, just one larva here, so this is a big investment from Erik. He will lose a hatchery. Roach production has begun. He has one larva in the main. He can make one roach. Oh no! There we go. One roach on the way. I think the goal was to make 3 roaches. To have 3 roaches in the main and then push across the map. And attempt to overwhelm. But it's only going to be the one. Now it is hidden, to be fair. And we can see Erik, he is pushing, but Erik is droning. So this is a fake. This is a fake all-in. It's fake aggression. Pokes into the mineral line. Haley gets across the map. One SCV goes down. And the Haley enemy is dishing out quite a bit of damage here. Jesus. Getting 1. Getting up to 2. Do we get 3? At the same time, 3 SCVs do fall as well. Denying mining and all the mineral lines. Hellions are struggling to deal with this. This is getting a surprising amount of damage. 4 SCV kills. 4 SCVs. 5, 6. Oh god. It's becoming too much here. Again, the Hellions, they tickle the roaches. 9 SCVs. And unfortunately for INexorable, it's a 2-1-1, right? There's no starport, there's no Banshee follow-up here. It's a 3-1 sit-up at 2 base all in? Jesus. No starport. So heavy delay on the starport at 2nd and 3rd ranks. Heavy aggression out of INexorable. He's already lost 10 SCVs, so he's forcing himself all in. Or he's being forced into an all in here due to all the economic damage. It's all or nothing with INexorable. Hellions, they go for the dive. Oh my god, the drones, they stack up. No, the drones, they stack. 9 drone kills, crazy damage. 10 drones go down. INexorable's all in, but Erik has been crippled. He has been crippled here, so the aggression from INexorable can hit very, very well. It can hit quite strong. Erik is in trouble. Going for the pit, going for early investors. And that can work. So now we are just building up back and we're building up, getting the sim. Once again, because of the 3rd racks and because of the delayed starport, there's no 3rd CC, there's no medevac production. We're just focusing and fixating purely on marine production, stim, and combat shields. So we should be hitting a timing here with these upgrades. Should be. Simon's progressing. Erik, he does run up somewhat. Ooh, does get supply blocked. So big supply. We can't afford a hive. What's going on? We're getting a hive on 2 base saturation. Look at how empty the 3rd is. This is an empty 3rd, and Erik's up against an all-in. I mean, I say that, and INexorable, he throws down a 3rd CC. Oh. Okay, he scans. He sees the hive. We got to make a choice. He's pushing, thank god. The 3rd base is a sign of mid-game play, and I was concerned that he was going to be too passive. There we go. He cancels the 3rd CC. He knows, Pappy. He sees the hive. Hyper greed out of Erik, and we're here to punish. We're here to punish. The boys are being pulled. INexorable completely all in. And Erik, can he make this? Can he survive? He does have some fungals. If they connect, he can maybe hold on. That's what's the boys. Down there, the fungal. Very nice fungal. The wires. Oh my god, they connect. Remember, they're no medevacs, so that is permanent damage on the Marines. And we have to evacuate. We have to abandon the 3rd. SCVs are being thrown away. They push a little bit too far forward. Oh, Biles, they do pick away at the tank. Oh my god, fungal lands. Oh my god. Yeah, massive fungal gets one of the tanks. There's 2 tanks left. 2 tanks remaining. We're trying to hold on with 2 Ravagers. And Erik, has he been too greedy? Oh my god. Clutch transfuse. Very clutch transfuse. Queens have moved down to low ground. Another transfuse on the Ravager. Can he bile? He can. But there's a repair. Yeah, there's a repair. Tank being kept alive. Ooh. Fungal does land on the SCVs. And on the Marines. SCVs are going down. And these Fungals need to connect. Without these tanks, Erik can hold. He still makes an Ultra Cannon. What's he doing? he makes an Ultra Cannon. He's crazy. The boys are being pulled. We're having the army. No fungal. But Erik, he will clean up every single tank. Now only Marines remaining, and Erik holds. Erik, he does hold on. It was a messy defense here. 14 drones go down. Remember, INexorable he canceled. Remember, he canceled the CC, so there is no follow-up. He now rebuilds the CC in the main base, trying to make a macro game out of this. And Erik gets away with the Hive. Adrenal's on the way. Ultra Cavern's on the way. He should be dead. Like, this is just so greedy. In the face of the all-in, Erik, he barely survives. He has a lot of droning to do, and it's just very messy. It's a very messy game state. We're getting messy, Pat. As we settle in, we have kindness plating on the way. I have to give the edge to Erik, right? Erik, his tech here is miles ahead with kindness plating and adrenal. The upgrades were denied. He's gonna have 0 upgrades, but he'll have kindness plating. God damn it. As he has 0 Eva chamber upgrades. But he can start working on it. Microbial Shroud first. Oh, no, it does cancel. Okay, cancels Microbial Shroud. Goes into 1-1. And if INexorable's plan here is to turtle up into a third, I do favor Erik. Because Erik is going to benefit more from that as he's droning, saturating, and now securing a higher tier and higher tech army. Like INexorable, he's not ready for Mass Ultra. And if he gives Erik time, that's what's going to be coming. Scan reveals the Infestors. The Ultras are kept out of scan range. Ooh, INexorable doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's moving into. He scanned earlier and he saw the Hive, but even in his mind, he must be thinking like, no shot you actually got an Ultra Cavern, like in the middle of the all-in, like no shot. I mean, it's true though. Erik's moving in.
Upgrade done.
He's got TB. Total Biscuit voice pack. And here comes Erik. We gotta get the hell out of here. He's stimming home. As soon as he sees the Ultras, he has to get the hell out of here. He stims away. Get out of here, Pappy. Get out of here. INexorable does make it back. Thankfully, and now he has to just turtle. Just has to turtle on up and survive until Ghosts, survive until Liberators. Again, it's going to be difficult because it's going to be a window in time where Erik can hit with strong, with like highly upgraded Ultras. Erik's in. Erik's in. We're getting to drop play. Drop play can excel just because there's very limited anti-air. I say that, but Erik's also getting Aspire. Like, in my mind, Erik should be going for an all-in and should be hitting before INexorable stabilizes, but Erik is just macroing. Like, he's just... he's just droning, he's just taking. It's a very bold kind of approach here from Erik. I mean, technically Erik has a lead, so he can get away with this. As the INexorable does drop in, catching out a couple of turns, causing a distraction. Technically, INexorable, he is now up in armor supply, but this is what the soup is lying to you. The soup is lying is a larger army, that is true, but right now INexorable is just turtling up back at home, and again, Erik has a higher tier army with those Ultras and with Infestors. This is very nice economic damage though, and the low drone count for Erik might hurt him, but he still has it's still okay saturation considering what INexorable has himself. Only 65 SCVs. Oh, and INexorable, he's pushing. Okay, I do like this. He is moving out. Now, he is still lacking ghosts, but he does have a very Marauder-heavy composition. The Biles! Ooh, Biles catch a Liberator. The Liberator does go down. Fungal's gonna be coming in. Does land. Yeah, lands the Fungals, going for the Mega shot as well. Mass Fungals here on the army. Ultras are trying to break through, but the Marauders are trying to hold their own. No, they can't. Yeah, they kind of hold their own. Oof. Ultras, they break through that defensive line. They get on top of the tanks. There's 2 Ultras left. Down to 2, down to 1. With Micro, we can bring it down. Yeah, it takes down the final Ultralisks. That does eventually hold when it comes to the fight, but we'll lose everything. We'll lose everything in the process. We have Ling reinforcements coming in as well. And that was everything that INexorable had. That was his entire army back. Yeah, the boys are being pulled. Desperation out of INexorable. Desperation. Erik pulls away. And now he's rebuilding. He's rebuilding his Ultras. His Infestors did survive. True. Kept those Infestors alive. Denying the 4th base. Oof. Getting into the main army. Again, nice kiting here out of INexorable, but he will still lose the tank. Yeah, the tank still goes down. And GG. GG gets called. Erik, he breaks on through. He overwhelms, and Erik, he will claim the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Hyper greed out of Erik. Remember, INexorable, he was all in, by the way. We had the fake all in initially by Erik. He was able to kill 10 SCV, so he forced the all in out of INexorable. Initially, INexorable was getting a 3rd CC. Then he scanned, he saw the hive on the way, so he just doubled down. He pulled the boys, he committed, and INexorable, he almost won the game. Then and there, INexorable, he just almost broke his opponent. And in the middle of the all in the middle of Erik dying at his natural, by the way, we had to pull the boys, and he barely survived. He threw down the Ultra Cavern. That is insane. Threw down the Ultra Cavern while defending. He got away with it. He survived. Then he just snowballed out of control with that higher tech army, as we mentioned, going into Ultra Infestor with adrenal glands as well. GG. GG well played. Erik, he gets away with it, does barely survive. And with that, we have our grand finals ahead of us here. Here we go. So GG well played. With that, we're getting ready here for our rematch. We're getting ready for a rematch. It was a one-sided series earlier in the broadcast, if you recall, with Erik attempting and failing at all-inning his opponents, but now it is going to be Erik versus Master in a ZvT. We get Mastery 2-0'd Erik earlier, with Erik struggling and failing to be hyper-aggressive with Roach all-ins. He was shut down, but now we have said rematch. True. We have said rematch. Bearing in mind that coming into this, it is going to be, sorry, I said best of 5. It's going to be best of 7. It's going to be best of 7, and Master does have a 1-point advantage due to coming in from the upper brackets. True.